All right. As people are joining, if you can just put a couple of things in the chat so that we know you're there. And can you see it now, Christy? Well, there's no comments.
Yeah, there's no comments, but I can see. Yeah.
Very good. So we really appreciate it as people start joining today. Just put a hello, hi, something in the comments to let us know that you're around. It's kind of funny because Christy and I could sit here and just talk to ourselves for a while.
That would be fun too. I'd be okay with that.
So as you are joining us, we want to thank y'all for being here today. Christy and I are going to start doing this the first Tuesday of every month, kind of getting together.
Second Tuesday.
You're right. Second Tuesday. My month has kind of gotten away from me. I've had a few things going on and a lot of travel. So please send one of us your comments. Like, we have questions that we get throughout our days and weeks that we have that we're going to answer. But if anyone out there has any questions and you don't feel comfortable putting them in the chat, you can email them to us and we'll put them on the next chat, or you can put them in the chat right now. Hello, Miss Sarah. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you. How's your sister doing? Thank you. Beautiful. I've been getting that since I got my new hair. It's amazing the difference hair works.
You look beautiful.
Right. So we're going to start off, Christy. I'm going to ask you this question, kind of start off with, we're going to take it light. We're starting off light, people, but let me tell you, these questions get pretty in depth. Before we went live, hello. I was asking Christy, I said, Christy, what's your one belief system on this one question? Because it's kind of controversial. And just like on par, we believe the same thing. All right, Christy, how can you tell the difference between imagination and real spirit communication? I get this all the time.
I think it's a level of trust, because when I work with people, they'll say, well, yeah, I got that, but it popped in so fast. I was making it up. I'm like, no, that's how spirit is. I said, in many ways, they can be very rude. And while you're asking the question, boom, they are delivering the answer. And then people think they're making it up. I think human beings tend to make things much more difficult than they need to be.
No.
No, shocking.
Right.
But I think that's the big thing, is trusting that the information you're getting is correct. It's coming from spirit. Spirit will also never, ever give you negative information.
That's
so if there's something negative, that does not belong to spirit. That could be your imagination. It could be your monkey brain going off.
Absolutely.
That's the big way, is it's learning how to trust the information that you're getting, and it comes quick and it comes very concise.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I want to tell everyone in the comments, thank y'all for being here. Jennifer, Sarah, hello. So Jen, how are you feeling, Miss Jen? Put in the comments, inquiring minds want to know. Okay, so my belief system on this is much the same as Christy. I know that's shocking. The more we do these together, the more we realize how aligned we are. Communication with spirit just kind of drops in, and it actually has a very neutral feeling to it. Mm-hmm. There's not emotion attached to things that come from spirit. It is about trusting yourself, just like Christy said. And once you start trusting yourself, you can really see the difference in vibrations between what you are thinking and what spirit is bringing forward. Also, I want to say, if you find yourself thinking, going out to the kitchen, oh yeah, I need to put milk on my grocery list. You go to do that. Oh, now I need this. And how you're following that train of thought, that is you. Spirit is more about, like Christy was saying, they drop in. The emotion behind spirit communication is actually very neutral.
Mm-hmm. And I also say many times it's like listening to a feather fall through air. It can be very, very subtle as it lands. Sometimes it's boom, it's right there. But you really have to pay attention. When you ask the question, you have to pay attention to how they're going to answer your question.
Yes. Whenever I teach intro to mediumship, some of the things we talk about is how to slow it down from the spirit world, because they are so fast with their information. Sometimes you'll think, no, I didn't just hear that, or I didn't just see that. You start discounting yourself because spirit can be so fast. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying hi to a couple of people in the comments. I want to thank y'all for being here. And thanks for giving us the update, Jen. Jen is newly with baby.
Well, congratulations.
And this is a miracle baby. She worked really hard to get this baby. So she was saying that she has a little bit of high blood pressure. Yeah. Some of that I'm feeling, Jen, is I know this is all easier said than done. Maybe put some meditation or something that's very grounded into your life. I'm rightly so. I understand the fear of rolling into this pregnancy and not how hard you tried to get pregnant, but do some grounding. I'm just feeling so much positivity around this pregnancy. So just know that, and if I didn't see it, I just wouldn't say anything. You'll know me better than that. If I did see something happening, I would just keep my mouth shut or something negative happening. But no, I don't. I see you holding this beautiful baby at the end of this,
Yeah,
at
I
the
do
end
too.
of this trip. Yeah. And so does Christy. I always say whenever two mediums feel the same thing,
Mhm.
yeah, you can bank on it.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't think I've ever met you, but I'm seeing you with a great big tummy. So this means that you're gonna be fine. You're gonna carry
Yes.
that baby just fine.
Yes, yes, yes. So now Sarah just put on there, she worried. Sarah is Jen's sister.
Oh, okay.
I know, Jen, and you have every right to stress about it. You worked so hard to get this pregnancy, and I know you're just counting down the days, but I do see the same as Christy. We both saw it. You just with a really big belly, and that's our way of seeing that you are. Also, I'm seeing seeing me carting you down a hallway in a hospital, and you're very surprised and shocked. So something about this baby maybe coming a little bit early because I'm hearing in my head it's not time yet, but I'm not feeling it's premature at all. I'm
Yeah,
just saying maybe your due date is the 17th and you have the baby on the 10th or something. That's what I'm seeing.
yeah.
But don't come after me, Jen, if you're still pregnant on your due date. Thank y'all for being here. I so appreciate y'all popping in and saying hi. Hi, Nicole. All right. So now, Christy, on to the next. What are some signs that a spiritual awakening is starting?
My favorite sign is when someone makes a set appointment with me and they sit down and they go, "You're gonna think I'm crazy."
Isn't
But
that the truth? Right.
and I'm like, "Sit down, you've come to the right place." And a lot of times you start questioning the information you're getting, and it can make you feel a little bit crazy sometimes.
It
So to
can.
me, that's a really good sign. The other thing I think that sends people on a spiritual path is trauma. If someone goes through trauma, they realize that things just aren't working for them anymore the way they always used to. And so
Right.
they will start going down a different path to see if that will work for them. And
Absolutely.
all you do is you give spirit permission to come through to you, and they will.
Absolutely, they will.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, Sarah just was it Sarah or Jen? No, Jen did. Jen just kind of confirmed what we were saying that they talked about their doctor about delivering a week early. So the fact that I saw that, Jen, and I had no idea, of course, that your doctor had told you that. So that is a great confirmation that this baby is going to be fine. You're going to make it to the end of this pregnancy just fine. Don't go out and do anything crazy, though. You still have to row the boat. Yeah. So, what some signs about spiritual awakening? A lot. I love it when people pop on my screen or sit down in my office and like, you're gonna think I'm crazy. Yeah. No. If you're gonna make me think you're crazy, you're gonna try a little bit harder. Also some of the signs are you start losing interest in a lot of the material things that you used to that just meant so much to you. You start looking for a deeper meaning and everything. And I do want to warn people that when you go through the spiritual awakening, I think people have the misconception that it's all rainbows and butterflies. It is not. That is why I don't call it this, but I've heard this term used, the dark night of the soul.
Mhm.
I prefer it's just a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
It's no negative. You are changing, you're vibrating at a different level. And so now your people are coming for you to say, come on, come down this road with us. It's, this, but you will also, as y'all know, I've had most of the people on here are my clients, and y'all all know I've struggled with my health. It's just part of my path.
Mhm.
I knew I'm pretty spiritual.
Yeah, yeah, I tell people that a spiritual journey is the most joyous journey you'll ever take, but it's also the most difficult
Yeah.
because everything is gonna start showing up for you along that
Yes,
path
ma'am.
to
Yes.
heal and clear, give you the opportunity. Because I always say, the only thing we've got control over is our reactions to things. And so when things show up, it's your choice. Do I stuff that back down again? Do I deal with it and
Mhm.
let it go and heal yourself? That's this beautiful spiritual journey, is being willing to deal with your past, deal with your crap.
Right. And something else that once you have dealt with some of your crap and you release the attachment to that and you start kind of vibrating at a higher level, before you solidify in that level, spirit will send you a little opportunity to know that you are really aligned with that spiritual path.
Mhm.
So let's just say you have a problem with people betraying you. Like it's just something, and you work through it on your end. You're not bothered by it anymore. So when you say, "Yeah, I'm over that. I've passed that test," Spirit will send another test your way to make sure you have actually passed that test.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Yes, that's exactly what Spirit does. So Sarah and Jen, you're going to be in Omaha the week before her due date. You might end up having that baby here at UNMC or something. If you are coming into Omaha. I want to thank everyone who is joining Christy and I today. We are going to start making this a second Tuesday of every month thing where we come on here. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We do have some that we've accumulated from our years of doing this and the questions that we get asked. But please put your questions in the comments if you have any. All right, next one. This is something I get all the time, Christy.
Yeah.
Is psychic ability something you're born with, or can anyone develop it?
The way I like to explain it is that everybody is psychic. Just like everybody can play the piano. Some people play chopsticks, some people play Beethoven. And
Right.
some people who play chopsticks say, "Oh, I want to learn to play a song." And so they take lessons and they learn and they grow. And that's the same with psychic ability. Everybody is psychic. It's whether you choose to develop it or not. And some people are born with the gift more developed than others. But
Yes,
it's willing. I always say it's kind of like a job. You just got to show up. You got to do the work and keep
absolutely.
developing it and work with it. But everybody's psychic.
I agree 1,000%. When people ask me these questions, I say all I do when I'm reading someone or reading psychic abilities is I'm just go to heaven and grab people or talk to a guide. Now, God would not have given me that ability without giving it to everyone.
Mhm.
And if you're hearing people say otherwise, that's just a little bit of fear mongering because everyone can do this. But it's like Christy said, well, she didn't say this part, but I spent more time and money on mediumship and honing my skill set in this arena as I did on my master's degree.
Mhm.
It takes time, it takes education. I
Dedication.
will Yes, dedication. I will say that also it's been my experience that if you had kind of a rocky, rough childhood where people didn't understand you or you were actually, in physically abusive childhood, those people learn to read energy early
Mhm.
because they can't just walk into a room. Like when I grew up, I couldn't just walk into a room and be like, here I am. I always had to gauge what the environment of that room was. If it's one of my parents was not in a kind mood, I needed to be able to read that so I could either not go into the room or be prepared.
And I'd like to add to that as well. I've been psychic my whole life, as everybody is. I just didn't know how to develop it. I didn't know how to control it. And so unedited things would come flying out of my mouth. And it can come across as arrogant, it can come across as frightening. And in my journey, I had to learn how to edit things, how to pull things back, where some people would go, "That scares me," and they shut it down
Right.
completely. I didn't want to do that, but I know I needed to learn how to develop it and control it better. So
Absolutely.
now unedited things horrible things don't come flying out of my mouth.
Right. Yesterday I was meeting with someone and they were, if you want to mentor with me, you can book a free 20-minute discovery call to see if it's right for you. So we were on this call and I said, well, I can tell you have a lot of abilities, but I see a block has been put up to them. And she said, yes, that she'd gone to see someone and they told her she had a witch wound. And it wasn't just about the words of saying witch wound. She went on to describe it in a very negative way. And to me, that is fear mongering and it doesn't really have a place in spirituality. I definitely feel like that messages need to be filtered through the bias of love.
Yes.
And
And I work with a lot of people, again, that have got the gift, but there are blocks in there. So I will go into some past life things with them. And 9 times out of 10 is they were a witch in a past life they were stoned, they were hanged, they were drawn and quartered, all of these things. And so they brought that energy into this lifetime that it's not safe. for
That's
them
correct.
to use their gifts in that life. So I do a release on that. We clear all that energy so that releases and removes all those blocks. So then they can take it in whatever direction they choose.
Absolutely. That is so true that whenever you are on this journey, and let's just say you've never been afraid of flying, but then all of a sudden you're 35 and you have this huge fear. What happened? What happened is in another lifetime at that same age, you probably were in a crash with an airplane or something around an airplane killed
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
I don't think we can say that word on here. It unalived you. I forget. We're being recorded and we don't want to get shut down because of something Christy says. So that's a lot of explanation. If someone all of a sudden you're having some kind of fear around spirituality or driving over a bridge that just happened to someone I did a past life regression on to cut that cord. I was like, oh, this bridge collapsed on you. No wonder that you hate bridges. So a lot of that can be, and it runs at an unconscious or subconscious level, whatever your word you like to use for that is. And so in your head, you don't realize what has happened. You haven't put it together yet.
Mhm.
So just be aware of that. You can go to a trained professional, like Christy or Christy. We can help you out with that.
Yes, we can.
All right. So the bottom line of psychic ability is it something you're born with, or can anyone develop it? Both.
Yes.
Everyone is born with it. Some people, Christy was using a different analogy. She was using the piano analogy. I always use the basketball. Like everyone can dribble a ball, but not everyone is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just takes practice and honing. And, also working on yourself. Have you noticed that, Christy, that
Oh,
working on yourself is
always.
oh my gosh. And it's so helpful in your reading ability because then you're not putting a bias on it. You're just
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think what took me a while to develop is what I call a dictionary. And so when you're first
Yes.
developing your skills, like one thing that shows up for me, and it took me probably 6 or 7 times for it to show up for me to connect the dots with it. If a two-tiered white cake shows up with blue frosting around the edge, it's somebody's birthday in the last 10 days or the next 10 days. Well, this cake kept showing up for me, and finally it was like, oh, okay, and I kept honing it in and honing it in. And that's building your own dictionary, which I think is a great way to develop your skills as well. When themes start repeating, there's a bigger message behind it. And what you're doing is you're also training spirit that this will make sense to me. If you show up with this, I'll know what you mean.
Absolutely. And if anyone's interested, I have an angels class that starts tonight. We're starting that tonight. And then I have intro mediumship that will start after that because it's exactly what Christy said. I really think it's important. Yes, you can learn the foundation, but it's important for someone to develop their own skill set that incorporates their personality, and they have their own symbols. And spirit is constantly still giving me new symbols for as long as I've done this, as many readings as I've had. Yesterday, 2 readings in a row, spirit showed me someone at a desk with a cardboard box putting stuff in this box. And then they knowingly let me know that meant that person was leaving their job. And they showed it to me twice yesterday in one day. So I was like, oh, this is definitely going to be a symbol that they will be using in the future.
Well, and you just brought up a really good point. I don't know about you, Chrissy, but I will have themes. Like one week, it will be a theme of murder. Another one will be a theme of suicide. Another one will be a theme of whatever. But it's like everybody shows up the same week with a similar issue. It's just crazy. And then the next week, a different theme.
I think that's important to mention, Christy, because if you're not experienced with that, you'll think you're reading from memory. You'll think that you're not getting authentic information because because this was 2 readings in a row yesterday that I got that one symbol of someone. And at first of course, got it right away in the first reading and the second reading, I sat with it for just a moment. Like, okay, is this my memory or are they really showing this to me?
Mm-hmm.
And so I do also have a symbol that spirit gives me whenever they're confirming, yes, you're on the right path. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Christy, because it can be a little disconcerting when all of your readings have the same theme. You start thinking, am I really seeing this or making it up?
Well, I question my abilities. I used to.
Don't you ever, girlfriend. You're one of the best psychic mediums I've ever met. Don't even start questioning your abilities.
But, you learn, you grow, and you trust. To me, that's really
Exactly.
good, you trust spirit always, always, always.
And that's why like earlier today, I was just uploading because we start the angels class tonight. I was uploading a meditation to the classroom, meet your own spirit guide. So it's important for you to get to sit in meditation and learn your own voice, because when you know yourself really well, you know what's not you. And
Yes.
sometimes that's easier than
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
going out in the ethers and trying to, make do out there. All right. So now, do we have any questions yet? Oh, no.
Come on, you guys, bring us questions.
That's right. We're asking spirituality questions. I see someone put in there, I could use a reading, wonder if I was getting, I need to get a divorce. We are not really answering psychic mediumship questions today. We're more answering spiritual questions. And that question right there, Miss Angel, is a loaded one. So you might want to make a one-on-one appointment with one of us or someone else that you trust, because that's a loaded question. And I will say, whenever you start asking questions like that, sometimes you already know the answer. You're just looking for confirmation.
Mhm.
Trust yourself, Miss Angel. You got that. All right. How do loved ones in spirit show us they're still around?
Oh, there's a million different ways
Yes, there are. Yes.
that they show up. 1111 is considered an angel number, but I also know it's a sign from my mother, because before my mother was even sick, she said, I keep seeing 1111. And we had a deal that that's what she would send to me. And so now I see 1111 twice a day. Or even 111. It's always, hi, see you, you're there, mom, I love you. It can be repeating numbers. It can be, sometimes you feel a
Mhm.
warm hug around you and you think
Mhm.
wishful thinking. I'm making it up. No,
Right.
you will feel a change in temperature
You
when
will.
spirit walks in the room. There, you could have a sign on the side of a semi. You can have a sign on a license plate, through music, through a TV show, overhearing a conversation, all of those things. The way you know it's from spirit is if your mind goes directly to them when this shows up for
Absolutely.
you. And
Yes.
that says it's not wishful thinking. You're not making it up.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. We really could not mention that we'd be sitting here until midnight if we named all the ways that spirit can show you. But, look for those repeating numbers, things that are kind of a little bit out of the ordinary, and then that drop in of a person. I was
Mhm.
just reading in a group the other day, and I don't know, I came up with some information, and someone said, "Oh, that's my dad." And I asked them how they knew, because I knew how they knew. I wanted them to come to the conclusion on their own. And they're like, "I don't know. You just said a couple of words." And she was trying to claim the spirit before I was ready for her to. If that makes sense. Because I had just given a little bit of information. I wanted to give more because that's evidential mediumship that I do. And she's like, "Just you started talking and I just knew. I just kept thinking of my dad." Yeah, it's because as we are giving messages, spirit is coming in and saying, "Hey, hey, that's me. That's me."
I
So,
was doing a tarot card reading last week because in January I run a tarot card special, because normally I don't work with tarot cards. But in January, you get a half hour, half price tarot card reading to set the tone for 2026. And I'm
yes.
doing this tarot card reading. So it's not a psychic medium reading. It's something very different. And all of a sudden I went, oh, who was the smoker in your family? Oh my God, I'm being so overwhelmed. She goes, well, my mom was kind of a closet smoker. I said, well, not anymore, man. So
And
those signs can come through smell, it can come through taste.
yeah, so what Christy is talking about, and again, I teach it. We're going to be touching this a little bit on the angel class. We're going to be more of getting into angels, but you cannot study angels and getting messages from angels without talking about clairs. And that's exactly what Christy was just talking about. That's the language of spirit, clairvoyance, claircognizance. What she was talking about was clairalience, that clear smell. So you pay attention to those things kind of out of the ordinary. Let's see, AZ Disney said, "I dream about things that happen later on." I think they would say happen later on. What is that called again? So dreams are very powerful. Sometimes a dream is just a dream, and it's learning the vibration difference when it's prophetic dream and when it's just a dream.
Mhm.
That is really a psychic thing that you were seeing there. Also, having very vivid dreams is a sign of clairvoyance. So you want to make sure, even when you are not sleeping, you're out and about in public, you pay attention to any drop-ins that come into your mind. Just like I was telling Christy that yesterday, twice, Spirit showed me someone standing at a desk and putting things in this cardboard box. They showed me that clairvoyantly. Dreams, or if you have very vivid dreams that are very prophetic like that, that is also a sign of clairvoyance. So start leaning into that gift and starting to trust it. And as you start to trust it, you'll understand the difference in vibrations of these dreams whenever they actually something that's going to happen, or if it's just your body clearing house through this dream.
And I've had a little bit different experience with that, with precognitive dreams. I mean, I've had exactly what you said, but when there is no time on the other side, we don't think in a linear fashion. So when you have these dreams, what's happening is you are astral traveling into the so-called future. And you're experiencing these things, and you come back and it shows up to you as a dream. But what you're really doing is moving into the future, which is happening right now until we get back into this human body.
Right.
You work on a linear calendar, I guess, a linear time clock. So it can be astral traveling as well.
I was just looking, I have a question about that, astral traveling further on. So
Okay.
Christy touched on a little bit, but we're going to get into it in more depth later on because it's one of the questions. We get asked that question a lot. Okay, Brittany says, I have seen a lot of videos recently about a huge shift in divine feminine. Someone popped. Okay, let's see here. Oh, power this year in the spring or fall. Do you guys feel that too? Is my algorithm being weird?
No, there is a shift going to a matriarchal society.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening is back, we'll just call it ancient times, we needed a patriarchal society because that was for survival and providing, protecting kind of thing. Well, we don't need that as much anymore. And so now we're going to the nourishing side of things, which is more of a matriarchal energy. And that shift is starting to happen to us right now. Yeah, absolutely, it's happening. It's that shift is happening over generations, not over weeks or months. But you'll start to see, well, you see it right now where the men that are being born now really have got sometimes a very softer side to them.
Yeah, they do.
And women, when they were able to enter the workforce, are claiming some of the power that they really never had the opportunity to recognize or claim before. So that shift absolutely is happening.
Absolutely. And you can, people that are empaths can certainly feel it. This, what I'm about to say is my own personal opinion. No one has mentioned this to me and I haven't read it anywhere. I have a feeling that because of this shift, that's why you're seeing such huge violence in the world, because you have to think about it. If there is a huge amount of the population that is starting to vibrate at a higher level, they're pulling the civilization up. There's a whole group of people that have no desire to vibrate going up.
Yeah.
They actually feel like their power is being threatened. One of my daughters bought one of my other daughters a T-shirt for Christmas, and it said, "Equal rights for me does not mean less rights for you. This isn't pie."
Yeah.
So I think that's some of the just violence you're seeing is people are feeling that their way of life is no longer, which I believe it's going to be better and more powerful. And that's how we're going to keep the planet alive, is by making this switch. But some people aren't ready to do that. And they're reacting very angrily and with a lot of venom and violence.
Well, what's the one thing that people fear most is change.
Yes.
Because it's the unknown. And so it's exactly what you're talking about, is they don't want to change. It's worked for them, they think. And they're not willing to change into something else. And that's fine too. It's their choice. It's their life.
Absolutely. Free will is all over the place. I tell people all the time, like when they come to me and they're, we're doing whatever kind of reading they booked with me, and I just need to understand. I need to understand. And I say, well, your ex or whoever it is, they have free will. And if their free will is to be an asshole, that's their free will.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want someone trampling on your free will, even though, yes, we may think we know better for them. That's also a little bit of ego, that we think we know better for other people.
Well, and is it their lesson, or is it your lesson, or is it both?
Both. Absolutely. I've never been in a reading, like even given a reading or been in any kind of, with people or with spirits that I'm not also taught. There's lessons everywhere.
Always.
All right. Now, Carrie says, I keep seeing earth elementals, walking trees. Oh, love it. Fairies, air angels. What part of spirituality does that represent? Witches, druids, past life coming through. This is elementals, walking trees, fairies. Those are their own entities in their own right. It's not about witches coming through or druids coming through. They have their own vibration. We live in a part of Omaha, right outside of Omaha. I do in a place called Bellevue, but I live in kind of the forested area, and there's some trails down in the way, no forest if anyone's around. And there is a couple of portals down there where you can really see. I was just down there the other day with a friend, and it looked like little goblins coming out of this portal. So they are their own entity. You can, talk to them, you can work with them, especially the tree energy. We were walking down this path. If anyone had been seeing us, I said, oh my gosh, that tree's calling my name. And I went and leaned up against it and put my ear up against it to see what it had to say.
Yeah. Carrie is what we call Wisconsin nice. She's adorable, and she's on a wonderful spiritual path. So, hi, Carrie. And one thing that I teach is if we are all one, which a lot of people understand that right now, but they usually think small. They think it's just humans. And if we are all one, that is witches, that's druids, that's gnomes, it's trees, it's rocks. Everything comes from source. They're just choosing to express that soul energy in that particular way. Mm-hmm. So it all exists. And I always say everybody's got a line in the sand. And it's like, well, I believe in witches, but no, I don't believe in gnomes. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, everything exists. And for those of you that have any kind of exposure to me, I have a very extraterrestrial background, let's put it that way. And some people say, I believe in psychic mediumship, I believe in Reiki, but no, I don't believe in ETs. And so everybody's got that line in the sand. And that's fine. You believe what you want to believe.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a group called the Divine Collective, and it's a membership group where we teach, but one of my teachings a couple of months ago was on elementals. Mm-hmm. I love the elementals. I think they're so fun to, just a different type of energy. Angels are definitely a different vibration than all these other things, but yeah, absolutely. I can tell you what, everyone has angels around them too.
Can I tell you a quick story? A couple of years ago, I was in Greece, and the gal I was with, she booked us to go to a leper colony. Like, okay. And it was not populated at that time, but we went through and I saw this tree, and this tree beckoned me to come over and touch it and talk to it. And it brought me to tears because this tree was absolutely bare up until maybe 7 or 8 feet. And then there was bark, there was leaves, there was all over it. And it told me it was doing that as a salute to the leprosy who, losing skin and losing pieces. Yeah. And it was a tribute to the people that used to be back actually put on that leprosy island. And so it told me that that was part of its purpose on the planet at this time, is to send love and caring and understanding to the people that really had no choice but to be sequestered on that island. And I mean, I'm crying when this tree is talking to me. It was so beautiful. You cannot tell me that tree didn't have a soul and an intelligent, aware of its own consciousness. It does, and everything does. And it's whether we choose to listen and pay attention to it.
We had, I live over in the Fontenelle Forest area, so we have like 22, 23 trees in our yard. When we had not been here but a few years, a big one in the middle of the yard, it needed to be cut down. It was dying. It was no longer stable. If it had fallen over, it would have hit my house. And so we had it cut down. So I'm looking at the window. We hired it cut because it was huge. So we hired it cut down. I'm looking at the window and I'm crying over this tree. And my husband's like, are you crying over the tree? I am crying over the tree. And, I even spoke to the tree, and the tree was telling me it's okay. It was my time. I was tired. I was like, but I didn't want to be responsible for it. I had much rather, and I was telling the tree this, it's like, I'd much rather you just come down on your own. He says, no, I understand. Your house needed to be protected, and I was ready to go.
Aww.
I know, but I was crying over this big old tree in my backyard. I'm sure
yeah.
Because before people came, I'm out in my yard, like touching the tree and talking to it. I'm sure if my neighbors had been watching, they would have been like, call the paddy wagon. Oh, very good. So Jen says, I've been having vivid dreams lately since being pregnant. That absolutely happens.
Mm-hmm. It's that little one.
Yes, it is that little one. I was about to say, Jen, you're going to give birth to a very high vibrational human.
Yeah.
Those come with a bit of responsibility, should you choose to take it, and you have, is that you just need to make sure you're working with these very high vibrational children, that they are not taking on other people's emotions. I mean, adults, we almost take on other people's emotions, but we can usually wind our way out of it and figure out they're not our feelings. Those high vibrational babies and young kids can't. They think the feelings that they're taking on from other people are their feelings. So, yes, something to talk about with that baby, even when they are, y'all can tell me I get passionate. My undergrad is in child development. My master's in business, but my undergrad's in child development. And talking to that baby while you're still while you're pregnant, I'm sure you do. Actually, Jen, I'm hearing you sing to that your belly. I'm here saying that you're pregnant, and Spirit just showed me you singing. So yes, keep that up after that baby's born. Just make sure you're aware of any emotions your baby's taking on.
Are those dreams, any of them associated with a foreign country? Because I'm getting a past life in a foreign country, and that little one's kind of planting those seeds within you right now of
Mm-hmm.
a past life that you had together. And I'm getting particularly Europe, and I'm not going to specify the country right now because it could be, how lines change,
Yes.
geographic lines change. But I'm getting Southern Europe that you had
Mm-hmm.
a past life together. So yeah, make a comment on that if any of those dreams have a foreign influence to it.
Yes, yes, yes. Vivid dreams. I see angel numbers often. Is that a sign of ancestors communicating? Now, whenever you see the numbers, it can be several different people communicating. It can be a guide, it can be an angel, it can be a transitioned loved one. Now, how, without having Christy or I in front of you to tell you who it is, how can you discern that on your own? Christy mentioned it earlier. Pay attention to when you're seeing those numbers, what name pops in. Let's just say you're saying, oh, no name popped in. All right. Then pay attention to any other synchronicity. Do you all of a sudden see a picture of a past relative? Do you all of a sudden have a friend starting to talk about, oh, I did this great meditation to meet my guardian angel? So pay attention when you see those numbers and those synchronicities. What comes in your head? If nothing comes in your head, then look for the synchronicities coming your way.
And they are angel numbers, so it can be coming from your angels, from your guides. And if it's not coming from my mother, I know it's coming from my guides and my angels. And it's always signs of encouragement that you are on the right path.
Yes.
Particularly 555. I've been seeing that a lot lately, which is get ready for some change that's coming
Absolutely.
to you. And a lot of people get concerned about the number 666 if that shows up. No,
Yeah.
it's not the devil. It's not the demon. Don't go down that rabbit hole. What it means is maybe you need to start thinking about something in a different way.
Yes. It's about the 666 is for me about creativity.
Mm.
Thinking about your life, thinking about what you're doing in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, mine is rethink that. Rethink that.
Exactly. You might want to think twice about this.
Yeah.
And I do, like I've said a couple of times, I am starting an angel class tonight, and we talk about numbers and how you know what is what. Michaela is also having a baby, and she says, yes, pregnancy dreams are absolutely insane right now, incredibly vivid. I love it. Okay, Jen said, no, I don't think so, but I love to travel to Europe. That in itself is a sign because you're being drawn to overseas. Like I know a ton of people, and it's not about the money. I know a ton of people have the money to travel overseas, but they like to stay in America.
Mhm.
They're just going to pursue America. So the fact that you've been drawn to Europe tells you that it's a past life thing.
Yeah. And
Also,
particularly with the little one.
I'm seeing a past life. I'm not sure if it was with the little one, but in France, it was very poignant for you. All right. Okay. I think that's all of our questions we have on here.
No, Brittany.
Oh,
One of my patients who recently passed said he had a tree that had to be cut down, and he went up, and told it thank you for the years that have been with him. Oh, I love that. Yay.
I'm getting chills as I'm and everyone in my family knows there's been a couple of things happening around our house. Like we have put up a fence. There's a couple other things we have to do. And my husband doesn't even ask. He will go to all kinds of lengths to make sure whatever project, whatever fence he's putting up, he will like go around a tree or something with the fence because he knows we do not cut trees in my house down unless they absolutely have to. Oh my goodness. I said I was seeing France around you, and you said that you just went to France last year.
Yeah.
That's what I was feeling. When the second Christy said past life, I was in France. So yes, that is absolutely where you spent that last year, the last lifetime with this baby.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. I love that.
I
All
love it.
right. We just answered that one. Oh, I have not asked Christy this, so I don't know what her belief system is. So it'll be interesting to know if we believe the same thing on what I'm about to ask. What is the difference between a spirit, a ghost, and an energy imprint?
That's a really good question. And when you sent me these questions, I struggled with that one a little bit, how to define the difference. But a spirit can be an angel, it can be a guide, it can be a deceased loved one. That's all spirits. Ghosts typically, um, somebody who has passed and they come back to a particular home, a particular place where maybe they had a traumatic ending or a place that they just loved and they had a beautiful life there and they
Mhm.
will come back. As far as an imprint goes, my almost my entire house is filled with antiques because whoever
Christy,
used
I
that.
don't know any medium that can do that.
Well, not that it was hard, but I mean, I would have to sit and touch and open drawers, sit in chairs, and do all that. And if the energy of this person who previously or originally had that piece of furniture, I could feel it, and I love it and had to have it. So that's the imprint. They left their imprint,
Yes.
their human imprint when they were there. I've got one chair in my living room, and I have a friend. Every time she comes over, she will not say hello to me. She walks in and goes and sits in that chair and just sits and rocks. And she's, oh, I love this chair. And yeah, it's from the 1930s. And I get a vision of an older man who is just peaceful and quiet, smoking a pipe, and who
I just got chills
absolutely
when you
lived
said that.
beautiful life in that chair. And he left that imprint there for me to find and bring into my home. So yeah,
Absolutely.
all my vintage furniture has beautiful energy or imprints associated with it.
Yes, yes, yes. So this is something I actually teach people how to do. And one of my, I think it's intro to mediumship, not the advanced. We start off pretty quickly with this. It's called what Christy was just describing. It's called psychometry. That
Mhm.
whenever an inanimate object takes on the energy of whoever owned it, and it's fun to do. We've done it in classes before, and the more people that own this item, the more imprints there are.
Mhm.
It doesn't always go back to the original owner. Sometimes it will stop in between. Now, for spirits, absolutely what Christy said. I do believe it's any person that has crossed over or an angel. All of that is spirit to me. That's all spirit world.
Mhm.
Everything. Yes, I know that angels vibrate a different level than humans. Those vibrate a different level than ascended masters. They all have their vibration, but they're all spirit to me.
Mhm.
A ghost. Now, I know when I get asked this question, what people are talking about, and I don't have a belief system around that. I don't think that ghosts just don't cross over and stay here and haunt us. I
Yeah.
believe what Christy says is that we cross over and then sometimes they'll come back. Now, sometimes why I want you to follow my thought process on this. Sometimes, whenever all of a sudden we have an awareness of someone in our house, right? That is because it's a spirit that doesn't belong to you. A lot of times we get our own spirits and they're around us so much, they just become like the air we breathe. And then you have to start getting used to their energy so you can identify them. A spirit that isn't connected to you, you're going to feel that spirit real quick.
Yeah.
And people usually call that a ghost. I don't. I just call it, just like Christy, people loved that house. Or maybe there was traumatic accident that they go back and visit every once in a while. They may visit there, but they crossed over. Now, what was the next one? Oh, energy imprint. Yeah, we just talked a little about that. Psychometry. Psychometry is a lot of fun. I have to be in a certain mindset to go into antique stores. My husband and I were somewhere, and I was traveling because of health reasons, so I was already under a lot of pressure. Didn't feel like putting any blocks up or messing with it, and so we were out walking. My husband said, "Oh, there's an antique store. You want to go in it?" I don't. No, no, I'm not there today. All right. Let's
Oh, let's
see.
see. Funny, we are doing an Italian baby shower. Italy was the country that I was that I didn't mention, but Italy was what I was getting very strong.
Very good. Very good. Trees are very special. My papa planted a tree when I was born in his front yard and still going strong. Oh, I love that. I love me some trees. A lot of people will, they feel energized around water, the ocean and or lakes. Put me in the trees and I am so happy. One of the favorite places, I mean, I've been to Italy, I've been, to Ireland, all over the United States because my husband was in the service. And one of my favorite places is Sequoia National Park in Northern California.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there, Christy?
Yeah.
Aren't those trees just amazing?
Yeah. Well, California, I tell people that's where I grew up, which I really didn't because I didn't move there till I was 22 years old. But the ocean, the juxtaposition between mountains and trees and ocean, you get all of it right there. And it's just beautiful.
Jen said they went to Italy and Greece for their honeymoon. Greece is a country. I want to go see Greece. I haven't seen it yet. So I think that's
fabulous. Well, that's why I said Southern Europe, because part of me wanted to go to Greece, part of me Italy. And I was like, no, just don't say it because I think the lines have blurred a little bit.
A little bit. Right. Okay, so now this one we've talked a little bit about, but it's a very straightforward question. We've addressed it. We're going to address it again. Why do some souls seem to linger instead of full and crossing?
I don't think they linger.
I don't either.
The only thing that I have seen is in a plane crash. And believe it or not, I've had 2 different families come where actually 3 now, that they've had loved ones die in plane crashes. And car accidents are much more prevalent, but the soul leaves the body and they might hover for a little bit to say, wow, what's going on here? Oh, who is that? And it takes them a minute to even recognize their own body.
Yes.
And once they realize, because there's always somebody to greet them on the other side and extend a hand and help them cross. So I don't believe in lingering other than maybe a split second after the soul leaves the body while they kind of figure out and they wait for that person to extend a hand and help them go to the other side.
I have the exact same theory on this. And this is where sometimes I get kind of upset with some mediums doing fear mongering, but there's nothing fearful about the spirit world. Every single person is a strong spirit on their own right, and there you can have autonomy. And if you don't want certain spirits around you, you can say no. So if you have a spirit that is visiting your house and is not yours, you have free will. You can tell them to go move it along. Yeah. But those are not spirits that have lingered. Those are spirits that have probably lived in your house or had some kind of connection to the earth that your house is sitting on. And they're just visiting, checking things out. But it can be a little bit disconcerting to people who they understand intuition a little bit. They understand mediumship a little bit, but they haven't quite practiced it or been trained enough to be able to control it.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Making sure now we have everyone wanting to go on vacation.
Go. It's all beautiful.
All right. How does emotional trauma affect your spiritual gifts?
I love that question because it can affect you in many, many different ways. It can be emotional trauma. Like I mentioned, I've been psychic my whole life, but I was scared to death to go public as a psychic medium because I had been ridiculed pretty much my whole life. Right. And so it wasn't safe for me to go. Well, I owned an art school for more than a decade. And I was loading up my car one day to go teach a class off-site with a special group. And I felt hands behind me push me into a brick wall with a brick window ledge and cut my head wide open. I had 37 stitches.
Oh my goodness, Christy.
In my head. Yeah. And I won't go into the whole story, but basically I went and taught the art class. I went home and changed my clothes and cleaned up and all that stuff and went and taught the art class. And then went to the ER with it. All right.
Did you bandage it while you were teaching this class?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Got to power through, man. Rent was due.
I feel ya.
At that time. So I go to urgent care and the doctor is talking to the nurse and she goes, okay, why don't you go ahead and clear everybody out because of the emergency. And I said, oh, you have an emergency? And she goes, it's you. You're the emergency. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. But what happened, there was something with that blow, that cut, that my spiritual gifts went a little cuckoo after that. And
Yes.
it really opened up. So that would be physical trauma for me. And that's when I put the school up for sale and started going out slowly publicly as a psychic medium. And once I finally started telling people I'm coming out of the psychic closet, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I can see that. And I'm like,
Why
where
did I've had that, and you were like, "Why didn't someone tell me?"
yeah, where were you people 15 years ago? Oh my God.
Right, right.
So that would be some physical trauma, but there can be emotional trauma too. And I see that with people that have had a very abusive childhood, and that emotional trauma finally, once they've learned how to, I hesitate to say heal themselves, but how to incorporate the trauma and how to live their life in a healing way. Because how do you help someone else if you haven't been through your own trauma? I
Right,
have yet to meet any kind of psychic medium that has not been through trauma that's worth their weight at all. Every one of them has. They've just learned how to integrate it and
yeah.
how to spot it in other people so you can be of assistance in a really expedient way.
I had, I've trained a lot of psychic mediums, and I've realized that Christy said the ones that have been through trauma themselves are really good because they don't shy away.
Mhm.
And one time I had someone had asked, it was a friend of a friend. She wanted me, asked me as a favor her to read this other medium. Okay. So I, popped on screen, and that medium said, you were the one that I needed to go to. And I knew what she meant, because it was a person who coming up from spirit who unfortunately liked little children.
Mm.
Some people can't see that.
Yeah.
Some people physically cannot go there in the spirit world because it's not something they were ever exposed to, or it's just too hard for them to maneuver. So
Mhm.
I would say everyone has their own gifts, and if anyone's on the spiritual journey, lean into yours, because your gifts are going to be different than Christie's, which is going to be different than mine. They're not wrong. We're getting all the same information, just hitting it in different ways.
And that's why we need all the healers, not all the healers, but the good healers out there, is because some people are going to resonate with Christy, some people are going to resonate with me.
Right. I love the way you said that, Christy. No, not all, just the good ones, but it's true. I was just telling Christy that, it's gotten to where someone picks up a deck of cards. They're like, oh, I'm a medium. And I have encountered so many people lately that have been doubly traumatized by going to a medium or a card reader that wasn't experienced. And there was fear mongering involved. So they started shutting down their own gifts. Yeah.
One of my least favorite stories is I had a lady who booked a session with me. She goes, I went to another psychic medium and she said I was going to die at 72 and I want you to do an extension.
Okay, I'm going to be at your office a little bit later. Can you do that extension for me?
And I said, first of all, that psychic medium had no business telling you were going to die at 72.
Nope.
That's immoral. It is unprofessional. It's
Yes.
every kind of you can imagine. And I said, and I cannot do an extension. I said, if you believe her, chances are you're going to die at 72. You
Mm-hmm.
choose not to believe her, you're going to die when you're supposed to, with the agreement when you were born of when you're going to die. So with anybody who does that fear mongering, run
Right.
as fast as you can.
And even though I already knew it, what I'm about to tell you, I was reading a book that was more scientific based because it was written by a doctor, and he has in there the difference in the recovery of patients who believe they're going to pass and those who believe they're going to live.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's a lot of people that have come to me that they had a relative diagnosed with stage 4 cancer about the same time as I did, and they're already off planet.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a blame game.
No.
But having hope makes all the difference in the world.
Yes.
Hope is, yeah. All right, Michaela, is there a difference between feeling your loved ones versus a spirit that is not yours when they are around? Absolutely. So every spirit has their different vibration. Your spirits are typically going to make you feel loved and warm and surrounded. And another spirit that doesn't belong to you, it's not that they're bad, they're just not energetically connected to you. So that's when it's nice to be trained so you can figure out, okay, who is the spirit? What do they want? Again, if there's a spirit around you that isn't familiar to you, tell them to go. It's free will. You can tell them to go, that you don't want them around.
Mhm.
And once you start getting used to having your spirits around and identifying those spirits, vibration is as prevalent to me as Christy's face looking at me. Once you've read a spirit enough, you know who it is when they step up, and they can just step up as a ball of energy.
Mhm.
Now, when I'm first reading someone, they will give me more concrete how they looked or died, something evidential, because I have to prove it to my client, right? But once they trust me and I've gotten used to a spirit, they can just come up as the ball of light that they are, and I'll already know who they are.
Mhm. Yeah,
Anything?
because we're reading energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody you know and you love, you're gonna have that comforting feeling about you. If it's
Mm-hmm.
somebody you don't know, you're gonna go, "Oof, who's that? I don't know." And
Right.
it's just gonna feel a little odd. And again, whether it's good or bad, it just isn't familiar.
Exactly. That is exactly it. All right. So now, I was checking our time. We're not going to get into another question because we only have 4 minutes left. Any questions up there that we missed? Nope. All right. Well, I guess we can do one more. I thought we were going to close it down with some more questions or something. We can talk fast. We got 4 minutes. We can do this, right, Christy?
Yep.
Are children naturally psychic? And how can parents support them?
Children, just like all of us, yes. When you think about children, they are fresher from the spiritual
They
world
are, yeah.
than adults are. They're not as jaded as sometimes adults can be. So they are much more psychic. And I see this especially with babies that are just learning how to sit, or they're in their crib and they will point and they will just gibberish. And they're talking to spirit. They can see them clear as day.
Yeah.
But as they tend to grow into a toddler body, a young person's body, that connection starts to lessen a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And how parents can support them is I talk to grandpa. What did grandpa have to say? Ask them the questions. Don't go, well, he's dead. Because there's so much judgment and they don't want their kids to be crazy.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
yeah, ask the questions. What did grandpa look like? What did
What
he
was
say
he
to you?
doing?
Yeah, and then you maybe show them a picture. Is this who you saw?
Right.
And that will help them develop the gift and let them know that they are special, and just like everybody is, but before other people have the chance to shut them down, ridicule them, judge them. So I think, yeah, children are
Yes.
very psychic.
Because you're like Christy said, they're so fresh over here. And it's usually about 7 to 9 kids really start losing that innate ability unless it has been nurtured.
Mhm.
So if you nurture it, they can continue on. And I'm with Christy, just approach it with curiosity and no fear, and let them know that is a natural part of their life. And also, as they get older, teach discernment. There's certain spirits, no, they can show up when I have a reading, but then you have to go. I don't necessarily want to hang out with you all day. Teach that to the kids. Like, they have complete control. They're a powerful spirit on their own right. And they can say, yep, no, I don't want you around. You're scaring me, or whatever it may be. I do think it's fun. I will tell a quick story. I have, for those of you who know me, most of you know, I have 2 Great Danes. One's 180 pounds. Lord have mercy. He's a destroyer of all things good. And then there's my sweet, sweet Hera, who's 140. They're sibling. They came from litter mates. So I was I was about to come on live with Christy, and I had gone out to the living room to get something. Odin's laying there and he's looking up. I was like, oh, I know what he's seeing. And then he was so good because he looks up and then he gets up and turns his whole body and stares at the wall. Like, what the heck am I seeing here? It's not a person, but it's kind of a person. So pay attention to those animals also when they start having weird behaviors like staring at the wall or barking at the wall and there's nothing there. Animals are really good at seeing the other side.
Well, and that's interesting that you say that, because I'll do house clearings for people. And every time I go into a home where there are pets, I'm a magnet, and they come over to me, and usually backside first, because they want Reiki. And the minute I put my hands right on their little hips, they just start wiggling around and settling down. So they can sense that energy more than any human can.
You know, I always know because I do all my business via Zoom now. And so every time I think this was a week ago, this lady popped on the screen and her dog in the screen. She said, I don't know what's wrong with that dog. I said, I do. They have something to say. Can you put the camera on them? And so I told her what the dog was saying, and she was validating it. Yeah, that's the way it is. I said, and he's really upset when you push him, when you make him get off the bed. And she said, well, I understand. I validate him being upset, but he cannot lay on my bed. And so he's right. Every time he's on that bed, I do make him get down because there's too much air.
That's so funny.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Again, be on the lookout. Christy and I will be doing more things in person together. And then also we're going to do these Facebook Lives. Second Tuesday. I was about to say first. I don't know what this is with this first Tuesday I have going on, Christy. It's the second Tuesday that we're doing this at noon.
Second Tuesday
Every month at noon, right here.
Yes.
All right. Thank everyone for